already. Here just to record a quick update for what's going on in the Forex market. So looking at some breakout trading opportunities here as we get started with the new session. We'll see where those opportunities lie and if there are any trades you might want to be able to take advantage of here in the next few minutes. First things first, we always want to check news. We want to see what news, if any, is coming up. Generally, we're looking for the red reports like these high impact reports. We just want to be able to plan our day and make sure that we aren't trading into a high impact announcement. Today, we really don't have anything. We've got some CAD news here in a bit that's medium impact on retail sales. And then we've got some U.S. news following that, manufacturing reports and home sales. So fairly light news day. I don't really foresee anything major coming out of those. So with that said, we can go ahead and have a look over here at the markets and see what's actually going on and which currencies we can possibly pair against one another. As we've seen before, yesterday was a great trending day. Today, we're coming into this new session. We've got strong currencies. You know, the euro has been a strong currency over the course of the session so far. CAD's been a weaker currency, but pairing the euro versus the CAD together, not really a great pairing given the fact that it's already moved 116 pips for the day and its average is right around 100. So it's already exceeded its typical range. I mean, I think if anything here, we might be looking for reversals on those versus continuation of that trend. So, you know, when we look at this, we go, well, you know, we've got nice divergence over here on the euro versus the CAD, but I mean, it's already pretty much ranged out. What is the likelihood of that continuing further? You know, can it continue further? Absolutely. You can do anything it wants to do. It could blow another 200 pips through there. But what's the likelihood of it? And that's what we have to focus on, is we want to trade based on, you know, regular market conditions, look at, you know, typical ranges and trade with what's historically giving us that opportunity. It doesn't mean that anything is going to happen, but we want to use that history to our advantage to be able to plan things out. So if anything, you know, once we've exceeded a range like this under regular conditions, I would expect that we might see a bit of a reversal here. So with that said, you know, what are we watching for? Well, you know, we're looking for the currency pairings where we have not exceeded those ranges. Is, you know, like here on the pound versus the CAD, you know, pound CAD is only moved 50 pips for the day. Its average is, you know, into those into that 100 plus pip range. So it's moved less than half what its typical range would be. I think there's more opportunity here than we would see elsewhere. Now, with that said, the pound versus the CAD isn't really moving. There is some divergence. The pound has been stronger, you know, in relation to other currencies, and the CAD has been weaker in relation to other currencies. So if that holds up as this new session gets going, then we could certainly be looking for a nice breakout on that pound versus the CAD. I prefer to see that in the long position, mainly because the pound has been above the midpoint here, you know, coming into this new session. So we'd like to see the pound break back up to the long side and have the CAD either stay flat here, you know, under the midpoint, or continue to push down even lower. So in order for that to happen, you know, we'd like to see that divergence occur, and then we'd also like to see our volume detail flip here to the green side, giving us that opportunity to buy the breakout on the pound versus the CAD. I don't really see any others. The Euro USD is another, but it's, you know, the Euro USD, you know, if we look here, they're trading together, both on the stronger side of the midpoint here. So given that, even though the Euro USD has only moved about half of what its typical range would be, we would have to see some, I'm almost rhyming there. Anyway, we'd have to see some additional movement that on either the euro pushing really strong to the long side here, and we'd need to see this USD actually dip below the midpoint in order for that to become a valid trade on this Euro USD. So I think, you know, as far as things go, and as far as the opportunity exists here, I'd be looking at the pound versus the CAD as our chief opportunity. Pound yen, euro yen, both of those have moved slightly lower than they typically move. The euro yen not quite as much as the pound yen. We're looking at 70 pips on an average of 90 to 100. But I think there's more opportunity here in that pound versus CAD area. So what I'm going to do, it's not lining up just yet. I'm going to wait on this for just a little bit. But this is the currency pairing that I'm watching. And what I'd like to see is, if we get here in the next half hour or so, if this pound starts to break back to the long side, we should see our volume detail come along with it, and at that point we can place a buy order here at the top of this breakout box and look for that trade to continue on for us. Things continue and they just, you're not seeing that right screen. So what we'd be watching for is if that pound breaks back to the long side, we'd be looking to buy the top of this breakout box over here at that 73.65 area here near the top. 73.60, 65, 66 would be the area there at the top. So that's what I'm looking for this morning. That's what I'm looking at. If the pound continues just to break down here and breaks down below the midpoint, that would be a signal that I just don't simply have a trade for the day, because at that point, excuse me, at that point, our pound would be below the midpoint and our CAD would be below the midpoint, and there's no divergence there that would key us into a potential continuation. So for now, watching the pound CAD, like to see the pound move back up here just a bit, and as that occurs, if we get that divergence, then we'll go here and we'll look to buy 73.65 off the top of this breakout box. All right, so that's it for now. There's your trade idea for Forex for the morning. I'll be back in a bit. We'll talk about what's happening in futures, a little bit of a tumble overnight, and see what opportunities exist there. All right, have a great